really we need that, but sometimes we feel that we need some kind of knowledge or experience before. I'm using experience, not in only in practical way, but just in having some information about that, having some knowledge about the situation or happening. Am I right?
Yeah, the experiences I'm talking about don't necessarily have to equate to a positive or a negative, because there aren't any. It's just for me to actually feel it, it had to be more than just intellectual knowledge. And those quote unquote practical experiences are all shades of black and white. I mean, there's some that were, you know, what I would perceive as, you know, brought some pain and suffering, and none of that is like something that connects to me any longer. But the benefit of it is I can look back and use that, leverage it as a tool to say, in those situations, my awareness was not at all what it is now, and yet I still was able to make it through that. And so I can take that quote unquote feeling of remembering the pain and suffering and say, wow, it doesn't need to be that. So it can be such a leverage point to move you forward in your awareness. And that's where, at the end of the day, I look at things and I think everything's good. Everything's wonderful. To get to the point where you recognize you don't have to have that experience to have a feeling of well-being. You don't have to have that anymore, those types of situations anymore, to know who you are. But for me, they were the catalyst to get me there. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. So, okay, we will discuss it later, because I will share, I don't know, but I should be really clear about that. So, okay, the next slide.
Above all, you are trusting in your ability to apply appropriateness using your awareness and looking at matters from a more overview perspective. You are trusting your new clarity because your vision is not clouded by worry and anxiety, which of course are awareness narrowing and limiting ways of being, and are thus totally counterproductive.
Okay. You're trusting in your ability to apply appropriateness using your awareness and looking at matters from a more overview perspective. Okay, so here we are using awareness, existing awareness, of course. So you're trusting your new clarity. But now with the more obvious tool is appropriateness. Okay, because your vision is not clouded by worry and anxiety, which of course are awareness narrowing and limiting ways of being. And that is totally counterproductive. Yes, makes sense to me. Okay, Donna, you want to read that, or can we move forward?
Move forward.
Okay.
This trust is using the confidence garnered from past experience. That is the difference between trust and confidence. Confidence is premised on the positive past, and trust is premised on the positive future. Trust is based on the knowing that our abilities, characteristics, and traits are what will enable us to successfully deal with the future situation in which we may not have specific experience. We don't need specific experience if we can figure it out, if we can calculate and use what is our core self, use our actual being to resolve matters.
Okay, so for me, it was from the last slide also. And now it's not about not incorporating our existing awareness. It is just that having trust that we have enough understanding of how to use the situation, existing awareness, and a trust in our impeccability, and trust in our ability to handle things appropriately. So it's not, I was getting idea that just have trust on on just the situation and your abilities now, but not on the existing awareness. But it made it clear in last slide that yes, your existing awareness, which might not be particularly or specific about the current situation or current happening, but through impactability, through our ability to do things appropriately, we can handle that. And to have, and the whole thing, the whole discussion is about having trust in our ability to get things through. So this trust is using the confidence garnered from past experience. Yes, that is the difference between trust and confidence. Confidence is premised on the positive past. Trust is premised on a positive future. Okay, yes, okay. Trust is based on knowing that our abilities, characteristics, and traits are what will enable us to successfully deal with a future situation in which we may not have specific experience. Perfect. Perfect.
Thus, it's not really our personality and experience which is the basis for trust, but capital C, confidence, which is based on our character and awareness. The combination of these three allow us to trust our ability to be appropriate in the future.
I guess this is what Donna, you were saying almost. Donna?
Donna still here?
Yes, I'm sorry. I had you on mute. Yes, that is what I am saying.
Yeah. Okay. So are you done with that? We can move forward.
I'm cold. My heater's off. Dang it. I can't get my jacket cold over here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just listening. It's fantastic. Carry on, Beena. Carry on, Donna. I'm loving it.
That's why capital T trust is such a huge deal. It removes fear and anxiety and makes worry petty and foolish. The only time to worry is if we're being crappy. Then it's valid. Otherwise, it's just indulgence. We cannot worry and stress about what we have no control over. That's just wasteful and foolish energy management. We can shift all that energy into trust instead. What choice do we have but to trust things will work out?
Mm-hmm. About worrying, I always had an assumption that worrying or panic is a natural reaction or natural response, which we have no control over it. because when things are just comes or happens suddenly, and you have no idea how things just happened in a very strange manner, and mostly like you have no actual idea how to deal with it. So the panic is a natural response. Worrying is a natural response, and mostly about worrying, I was used to actually considering worrying as a caring, as a concern, that I feel that I should, and I need to be worried about. I should be worried about things and situations.
Wow.
So it was, for me, it was like obligation, and also a part of a connection with other people and situation. Like if I'm not worried, so it was kind of like a obligation, self-obligation, that if I'm not worried about, so I'm not a caring person. If I'm not worrying about anything, so if I'm not panicking in a situation, it means that I am not getting the real idea or intensity of that situation.
Did you
So
differentiate
that,
between worry and concern?
yes, now I can see that. It was not before. It was not before, because I was feeling that if I am feeling concerns, I need to be worried about.
Yes, they get
So
conflated. Yeah.
yeah, and now it is not a thing. And what is the difference between worry and concern? I can be concerned, I can be caring without being panicked or worried about.
Yes, or
Because
anxious.
worrying and panic is not helpful at all.
Nope.
Not for me, not for the
Actually
other person or any situation. Yes, it's
It actually
counterproductive. So I,
causes the very thing that you are trying to avoid. It's amazing. Yeah.
and also it's a blessing. It's a blessing for other person that if to have a person who can still see, still look at the overview perspective in a situation.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yes, I'm saying blessing, but also it is crucial to have someone who still can do things sensibly and who can see the overview perspective and consequences of that situation or any action if we do any or take any measures for that. So concern and caring and worry is now different for me, because now I can see, I can feel concerned about, I can do care about things without being worried, without being panicked, and can have an overview perspective. So I can manage things better, I can help better, and I can do things better.
Right. Oh, powerful.
So worrying is getting involved into a situation and try to take control over that situation which already happened. Sometimes we just assume that okay, if we jump in and being worried and being panicked, so we are sharing kind of sharing that stress the other person or situation is demanding. So we feel that okay, if we are obliged to do that, and then we all are in that situation, and we feel that it is helping, it is sharing, but it is actually not.
No. Powerful, Beena. Powerful. All right, let's do the next one. Donna's running out of time. Well, I'm keen to this module if we can.
Trust because our intent is always pure, as it's always an intent to goodness. We trust knowing we've done our best. Our conscience is clear and we've done right according to ourselves, and we've done all we can. The rest is not up to us. And we trust because trust too is an intent. We trust because when it comes to where we have to trust, we have no choice but to trust. And as impeccable spirit warriors, we can, in such circumstances, do no less than trust completely with the fullness of our beings. This is capital T trust.
About fullness, yes, there is no other way around to do that. Otherwise, it's all just like very precise and clear, and we all know that. So we are moving forward.
Yeah.
Capital T trust is a power when we've exhausted all our other options. But then, and only then, when we let
go of the myth of superiority and realize that from the
go of the
universe's
myth of superiority and realize that from the universe's perspective,
Wow,
will always be less
Shut up.
some way. Then
you can't pause it, Beena?
We strive for inherent gain.
You read it rather. I'm enjoying you reading it.
I'm not doing.
Then energy will no longer be on us and our drama.
Okay, now
when we let
I need to actually read that for me, for myself.
Yeah, just stop the audio and then you just read it every time. Then we just do it once. Yeah.
Okay. When we let go of the myth of superiority and realize that from the universe's perspective, will always be less than in some way. Yes, then it all changes. Self-importance becomes irrelevant. We strive for inherent gains and value, not relative, empty, meaningless gains over other. Then our attention and energy will no longer be on us and our drama. This thing I'm not getting, Sil. Then our attention and energy will no longer be on us and our drama.
When we let go of the myth of superiority, that's when our attention and energy will no longer be on us and our drama.
But is it really bad to have your energy on you?
No, not. It's not bad to have your energy on us, but exclusively, yes. And our drama, yes. When we are self-absorbed, in other words, then yes. But then when we shift outside of us, then we have that freedom and that trust. Because when you focused on you, yes, you are focused on you in a small way, but when we are focused externally, we're in that space of trust, and we live in that space of trust, and we are just responding according to the universe as appropriate. Of course, we learn as appropriate, but we are being responsive to the entirety of what's around us, rather than when we are focused only on us. We can only go as far as the boundaries of us, but when we are focused outside of us, then we are much larger.
Okay.
It all begins with energy management. Most of our energy is spent on the futile self. If we do an inventory of where we spend our energy and look at the actual returns on investment, it's horrifying to realize on what we waste these inordinate amounts of energy, mainly because of pointless worry, which is the basis for stress.
You see where it's going, Beena? It makes sense now, right?
Yes, it is making sense now. And for our inner bureaucrats and logical mind also,
Exactly.
that now if we calculate this, that how much we are investing and what we are getting out of it makes sense that to be impeccable in any situation. Okay, got it.
Donna, how does this connect for you?
And you,
Haven't heard from you, Donna?
It's totally resonates with what we were talking about last night.
Yeah, it's powerful, so magical. Donna was sharing all about how she connects to the divineness of herself. I love it. It's so fantastic, and that's the whole thing. See, Donna, that your divine self, that's a shift outside of the focus on just you. That divine self is connected to everything, right? It's a moreness. It's not this local self that we're looking at. It's a huge deal. Next one, Beena. Please, sorry, you need to be right. You read it. Stop the audio and you read, Beena. Do it with all of them.
okay.
Just stop it immediately. You read. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. But we can trust that the universe will show or reveal what's needed if we can't find what we need through our own impeccable efforts. Capital T trust, especially, it's different to ordinary trust because it's a truth with awareness,
It's a trust.
deliberate, conscious trust. Ordinary trust is mostly the escape for the naive, the lazy, the hopeful, the unprepared. Ordinary trust is a backstop to prop up a lack of impeccability. But capital T trust is a power. As with any power, it's not ever really ours. We belong to the power rather than it belonging to us. Power thus demands an exquisite balance, a supreme refinement, a delicacy of soul and purpose. Wow, beautifully written.
Oh, thank you. Beautifully read too. Magic. Next one. How much time do we have? I can't see my time when you're full screen, so I don't know. Okay, look, never mind. We got 10. All right, keep going, Beena. I know we're rushing just a little bit. It's important. So just stop the audio and you read.
Capital T trust. Oh yes, capital T trust can be used, but only after we have done everything else possible. That is the price of power. It demands impeccability and abandon. Once we have done all we can, and we have absolutely no other choice but to trust, we then have to commit to that trust. This is why powers owns us. For that commitment has to be total. Power is a jealous lover. We have to abandon ourselves to it, but without losing ourselves. Always we need to retain that bit of control, much like a good lover. However, the abandon has to be genuine in this. We have to commit in ways that demonstrate
Yeah, it should be
our
that.
abandon and commitment. We have to leap off that cliff with the fullness of our being.
We have to
Oh,
commit in ways
it is.
that demonstrate our abandon and commitment. We have to leap off that cliff with the fullness of our being. Sorry, I just wanted to make it into an ending, because that's the climax of that point there. So, yeah, it's a big point, big point.
Yeah.
Jumping off that cliff, right, Donna? And when you leap off that cliff with the fullness of your being, that's when you come into your divineness. Yes, Donna?
That's when you fly.
That's when you fly.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Wow.
Yeah, so I must remember to come back. There are two things that need editing in this. There's that comma, that's a bit right. Next one, Beena. I like when you read.
This is-
You too, Donna?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
Much
yes.
nicer than me. Much nicer than me. So.
No, just different.
For me, it's much nicer. Go ahead with Beena.
This is how trust owns us and how we come to access the power of trust through that one-way, no-return, wholehearted embrace of trust. An act not lightly undertaken, one which can only be done with the purest intent, with the full knowledge that this desperate last resort is indeed our only option, and never one we have superstitiously
No,
saved us.
surreptitiously.
Surreptitiously. I was not aware of this word.
Surreptitious is like, almost not sneaky, but covert, covered. So.
Mm-hmm. And never one we have surreptitiously saved as a mechanism for getting ourselves out of trouble. I need to learn this word again.
Yeah,
Okay, anyway, first just let me get this idea. So how trust owns us and how we come to access the power of trust. When you return wholehearted embrace. It is quite not overwhelming, but yes, I feel that it is not like right now a state for me, that wholeheartedness. And then because I am in the process of doing that, but this completely and nothing left trust, as I think that it is not the thing for me, because I still have some concerns, not worrying, but yes, concerns I do have.
But do you have stuff that you can do? So this is about when we're in a situation that say, hey, have I done everything that I can do? If there's stuff that I can do on my own, well, then I don't need to spend time on trust. I'll say, okay, I can do this, I can do that, and there you go. So I'm doing what I can do. But when we get to a point where we need something, or we need some resolution, or we need circumstances to change, or whatever, and we've done everything we can, this is when we come to this capital T trust that we're talking about here. That's when we need to wholeheartedly embrace that trust through that one-way, no return. Then we'll say we are leaping off that cliff, but only when leaping off the cliff is absolutely our only option. We have to do everything else we can first, because if you just go and jump off the cliff because, well, okay, there's a cliff, and there's a lot of other stuff you can do. You walk down, you can rappel down the cliff. There's no need for that trust, because trust is always risky. So we have to realize that. And that's where the surreptitiously saved it comes in. A lot of people save trust up. Surreptitiously is kind of almost like sneakily. They hang on to it as a get-out-of-jail-free card, knowing that they're not doing everything that they can do. And say, I'm just going to trust. No good.
For me, it
We are
feels
exposed.
like, can,
Please
for
continue.
me, it feels like on that, it's like you have to start though. You have to start at a point of awareness and capital T trust. Maybe that's just how I operate. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it
it's both.
is. Not
Yeah.
everybody operates this
Yeah.
way. And then I go backwards. And then because I feel like, okay, if I start at the capital T and I make an effort, a deliberate, aware effort to start there and then say, okay, look at it from a bigger perspective. And I'm really trying to do to the end and be very deliberate in that. Then I work my way backwards and say, what are the things that I need to do, if anything?
Yes.
And I'm finding out that there's really not always a whole lot I need to do.
Exactly.
And then if there is, it feels more aligned with what what is aligned with the universe automatically.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then you don't really find yourself having to be at the cliff at all.
Exactly. Donna, what you've just articulated is what's coming later in the attunement module.
Oh, okay.
Because you that's the end point where we are moving towards. So yes, what you've just articulated is the divine self perspective, which is we have to kind of get there first. And not everybody is there. You already have that trust, Donna, that self-trust, which enables you to work backwards from that capital T trust and say, what do I need to do? But if you're not in a space where you feel that you can trust yourself, then you have to go with it from the other end and develop that. So this module is still geared towards those that are developing that self-trust rather than where you at. Donna, when you said that you can be alone, right? And it's just, you really saying it as an absolute conclusive fact. You don't need anybody. You're happy with people. You enjoy them, but you don't need it. You can be alone. That can be alone. That is a profound statement of divine trust, that you're happy to be with your divine self. And yes, you enjoy people. It's not that you're saying that you're looking to necessarily be alone, but you can be. And it's fine either way. But that's all founded on trust, not just in the self, but in the capital T trust that we're talking about, that you now work backwards from. To be in your divine self, to live in capital T trust. Yeah?
Correct.
It's huge, 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 huge. We are explorers, and the terrain we travel is our human experience. The glorious, rewarding path of self-discovery. We are more, so much more than our feeble egos and imaginations can believe. Yes, we are explorers, and the terrain we travel is our human experience. The glorious, rewarding path of self-discovery.
This journey requires us to learn, to grow, to make sense of our.
Beena.
Oh, okay. This journey requires us to learn, to grow, to make sense of our very nature. We are seeking to be the best in imperfect circumstances, as these are ideal tests for our reality of self. It's easy to be perfect in perfect circumstances, but our true measure is revealed in the less than ideal. We have to ask ourselves what we truly, really, deeply, actually want. To be prepared people, to be paper people, or we are on a glorious adventure as adventurers into the infinite more. It's essential we fully understand the precise nature of capital T trust.
Yes. So magical. Next one.
Here also resides a
Here also resides a super benefit of impeccability. It enables us to trust without the anchors of doubt.
Here we go. We're looking at Donna, Beena. Do you see that? You see Donna there?
What's that?
Go back one slide. We're looking
Here
at
also
you. Looking at you, Donna.
Looking at me. What do you mean?
Look at the screen.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're looking at you. The picture. I see Donna.
Do you?
Yeah, don't you, Beena?
No, it's a beautiful picture, and the eyes especially, like aware, and know that their worth and their strength. So
That potency
yes.
and that fire, and you know,
Yes.
that integrity of being, that integration of being also. So, in other words, Donna, what I'm seeing here is what I'm hearing from you. Capital H, hearing from you.
Nice.
I'm saying, I'm looking at you. Yeah, it's really potent. It's very powerful.
Integration is yeah. That's
huge.
the and well, no, I'm in process, but I am fully aware that that's
Right.
the direction I'm going, and
Yeah,
it's happening.
Exactly. It is that process of integration that's huge. And when we get into that state where we're saying, hey, I'm not just acquiring things, but I'm integrating them. Because
Right.
first we have to acquire in order to integrate. And it's a very big shift, right? And this is like, I mean, yeah, this is, I feel Donna is coming into a power. And this picture is why I use that, you know, because it represents that, you know, the super benefit of impeccability. It enables us to trust without the anchors of doubt. Now, for me, this is what I hear from you, Donna. In your connectivity to your divine self, you are trusting in your divine self without the anchors of doubt, which before would hold you down. Yes?
Yeah, the anchors were anchored in the dock of acquiring instead
Exactly.
of the integration. So
Exactly.
you just have to be real careful where you dock your anchor.
Yep. And the key in all of this entire session is that we do stuff and we've done stuff and we are doing stuff. And the key is to be aware of what we do it. When we can name it, when we can put a conception to it, this is what allows us to just jump over acquisition into integration, because then we can integrate consciously and deliberately. And then we can own it when we know what it is that we are doing. So when we say all of those terms that are coming up all the way through this, all of these conceptions, those are what enable us to own what we've been doing deliberately and consciously. Yes, we can own it otherwise, but you don't have that full ownership because you're not aware of what you've done. When we are aware of what it is we've done in the past, then we can get to that full integration and owning it, and it becomes power. That awareness is very key, and without the specific conceptualizing of it and paying attention to and naming it, and that's how we get to really own it. It's a huge deal. Yeah?
Yep.
Beena, next one. I think that's the end now. Very perfect.
Yes.
What does the end say?
Okay. And session 2, what is your relationship with trust? How does it connect to impeccability, and where are you wasting energy?
Yeah. Yes, we want to know. We want to know without words. We want to know without thought. We want to know directly and completely and intuitively. But first, we have to also know with words, and specifically and consciously and deliberately. And so when we do all of that, at some point, like I was saying last night, Donna, you know, each point of awareness in the brain, you enlarge that node, you focus that node through emphasis, through conscious, specific deliberateness, through knowing precisely what it is. And the contagion of that node, the awareness of that node is a contagion that spreads to other nodes. And at some points it lights them all up. And then when they light them all up, that's when we can transcend the specific knowings of each and every node. But we can't shy away from that effort and energy that is required to know each node in specific detail. That conscious deliberation, that articulation, that preciseness, and that connecting to understanding what it is, using the precise wording and terms and all of this. It's a powerful process. So yeah, we have to go through that route. So we have to use the tools of the mind, and I hate the term intellectual, but because it's a cockeyed term, but the terms of language and specific thinking in order to eventually transcend that. It's very powerful. So we want to blow up our own minds, in other words, eventually.
You kind of lose your mind.
Yeah, but you lose it through when it all lights up through that contagion of awareness. But we need a solid foundation first, because that's what the brain says. We've thought it through to the end. This was a huge point you were making last night, Donna. We were talking about.
Oh yeah, because I've experienced it otherwise. If you don't think it through to the end,
exactly,
and if you're not ready for it.
Exactly, it's all wasted and lost if we don't think it through. Because then the inner bureaucrats say, "But this is unfinished. We can't use this. We know there's more. How can we use it if we know there's more? We cannot." So yeah.
Well, not only that, it gets you into a physical situation that you don't want to find yourself in.
Right.
Because you're not ready for what's happening in your mind without the language and without the awareness.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
It's very, very powerful. It's essential. It's critical. There is no other option than to go through the process and have the tools.
Yes.
I don't feel.
Yes.
Having experienced the other.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I just love it. Okay, next one we do, Donna, you're going to read it for us. I like giving Beena the practice because I love hearing her voice too, but I'm keen to hear you also. I love it when you guys read. Oh, it's such a joy for me. Truly, it's really nice. Donna, don't you have to go?
You can feel it. I do have to go. You can feel Beena. I can feel Beena's words anyway. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but it's like I can feel the energy.
Yes, I feel it too.
Through my phone. Yes. It's amazing.
Yes. Actually, I'm kind of keen to redo this session at some time with you reading it for us, Donna, because it's so powerful, this trust for you and where you at, so you're going to come at it from a whole different perspective, you're where you at. You've gone through all of this. To me, it's like you've almost jumped over it. But anyway, it's very exciting. So at some point we do it again. It's a very, very powerful session for me.
Well, I didn't jump. I've been fully aware. I don't always articulate.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is just something I'm learning about the importance of sharing. And so that's a deliberate intent to shift from the unknown situation being just an individual situation and knowing that it's not. That was the first step. And I get that, and it's all connected, but to then shift to embracing the fact that through the sharing, we all benefit. And there's nothing detrimental to it, because it just doesn't even matter if others can resonate with it. It's not even the point.
Yes.
It's just, even if it's just a sharing of what you're going through, and that opens up space for others to then process and go through what they're going through at whatever place they're at. There's always benefit in that. So I'm working on that.
Yes, that is so huge, Donna. That is so huge. Oh, man. Oh.
That's a pretty big shift for me, for a very quiet and private person, especially with this stuff and what has happened. So I feel pleased with the progress, and I'm getting there.
I just love it. I don't want you to be late, though, Donna.
Yeah, I'm heading out.
I want to hear you. I'd stress now because, I'm like, oh, Donna's going to be late. They're just going to blame me.
No stress.
No, I'm just bullying.
If you guys are on later, I'll try to join you.
Yes, we will be. So let's hope so.
Thank you, Beena.
Yeah. I hope we see you again, because all sorts of people are probably going to join, Donna. So there'll be fun and excitement later on. So.
Okay. Thank you, Beena. Is she there?
Beena!
All right. Well,
she's muted.
Bye, Beena.
Oh, Beena. Oh, yeah, you are, Beena. Where are you? I'll be back in a moment, Beena. Actually, yeah.